what do you wish you knew when you started in your career, and how important social justice is? Let's pretend that someone didn't plant the seed when you were younger. What do you wish you knew as a younger upcoming architect?
Sure, there is so much I wish I knew when I started out. When I started out in architecture, I was the shyest person in the room. I barely spoke to anyone. I was just like the invisible person in an office. I was just drawing, keeping my head down, doing what's right. There was so much fear that I didn't even think that I had the right to ask for things to be explained to me or challenge ideas. You know, whatever you're told, you just do. And it's only over my career that I've slowly gotten to the point where I feel that my voice can be heard. So I think the most important thing for young people is to, from the get-go, realize that no matter who you're speaking to, even if it's the CEO of a big company, your voice is valuable. And your ideas, and if you challenge something, you don't have to harp on about it and make your whole life about it. If you have the right to challenge ideas as well. You know, to the point where if I sit in a meeting now with a big CEO, it's still intimidating. You know, it's still, you've got to keep this client happy, and you know he has some strange, biased ideas. And once again, you just plant a little seed by saying, why do you think it's like that? Maybe we should re-look at that idea. And I'll give you an example. I was on site with a project manager at a sports facility, and most of the supporting staff for that sports facility were men. And so they had ablution facilities and locker facilities for the men. And I was walking around and I said to him, in future, would it not be, when we're planning for the future, why don't we think about providing some facilities for women, support staff that are women? And he laughed at me. But I've planted that seed that maybe women are going to start doing this job in future. So even though it put me in a bit of a difficult situation where I was laughed at, I don't care. I've planted the seed that, hang on, this job is not reserved for men only. And my voice does count.
So, sister, I'm going to ask you now to look forward and say, what is it that you want to learn from seniors like Claire? Building environment is seniors like Claire. What is it that you would like to learn from them? And pose the question a different way. How would you do things differently when you are where they are now, looking at what they do now currently in terms of social justice?
Interestingly, Claire just gave my answer. The whole thing of forgetting that you actually have a voice. It's funny that after 23 years, a professional would still say that, because that's a conversation we as the young professionals have, where you go to a meeting and you're the only female, and if you're black, probably the only black person there, and you sit there. And my thing was always, gee, sister, these people have 10 to 20 years of experience. What could you possibly say that's valuable as somebody with only 2-3 years of experience? So that's a challenge we have currently. So to hear Claire say she has the same challenges, that's how she started and she developed that voice, I think that's very good to hear, and very good to hear, and very encouraging to us young professionals. But I think what would we do differently? What would we do differently? We'll definitely how did I get to social justice? I think I asked myself a question once at university during my honors year, and the question was, doctors heal people. What do I do as a quantity surveyor to change the world? Because I really did not have an answer for a very long time. And then I went in deep in my thoughts and I told myself, but you are part of the design team. You, the guy with the money, you the one who says, no, that's too expensive. How many times do you go to a building and you know that there are, for example, ablution facilities for the disabled, or there's a ramp for the disabled. How many times do we actually forget these things as built environment professionals? And that's when I told, oh, how sustainable are our buildings? What type of building materials are we using? So those were the questions I asked myself already then, that is perhaps the change that you have to bring. But I think, how will we do it differently? Like what Claire said, definitely involve us juniors in those projects which really help us learn more than what we really know, and help us unlearn those wrong things that we've learned. Like seriously, I got into QS because I wanted to make money. I had to learn that, no, it's not always about the money. There's actually an impact that you have to make, and that's through the experience. So I think, like Claire said, it's definitely involve the juniors in those projects where you learn more about yourself firstly, and more about the community, about the world around you and stuff like that. Yeah.